To be successful in life, you've got to be able to sell your ideas and concepts to others so that they embrace what you're saying. Really, we're all in sales. And that is the subject of this interview that I have with an outstanding woman who is successful in many ways. She's overcome obstacles, she's been able to achieve success in business, and has helped many people. And now you get to benefit from it as I interview the amazing, the wonderful Christine Clifford. Steam is a wonderful platform where we get a chance to learn and create content and meet some wonderful people we call Steamians, and many people out there who think, wow, we like being here, it's a fun place, and all the time we're there, we're selling. Now you might think, what do you mean you're selling? Well, you actually are, and our guest today is someone who has a philosophy that I subscribe to. Her name is Christine Clifford, and she is known for being a wonderful lady, a communicator, and talking about sales and many other topics. Christine, thanks so much for joining us today.
As always, thanks for having me, Terry.
Well, I know that you are a person that has been with Steam before, like 2016, and now then you took a little break, and now you're back talking to us about selling, talking to us about how we can live better lives. Tell us a little bit about when you left and why you did, and then why you came back.
Well, that's an interesting question, Terry. I got involved because my two adult children were involved with Steam, and it intrigued me, and they seemed to be doing really well. And I thought, okay, I'm going to jump on board and get involved in all this. And my original post got a really good reaction. And then I posted from a trip I was taking to China. And I think I've shared with you before, I made all of 1 penny.
Yeah, 1 penny. We can relate to that on Steam. We go, I poured my heart out on this. 1 penny. Or sometimes even less than that.
Right. So I think, as with anybody, in not only in Steam but in life, we want instant gratification. And in my profession, my real profession, which is as a professional speaker and author, you get that immediate feedback from an audience, or you get a paycheck, or you get this or that. And so I remember thinking, well, this must not be for me. And then my life also got very busy with lots of things. I moved from Minnesota to Florida, and I have 2 grandchildren I started babysitting, and I had a health crisis. So I literally dropped off the face of the earth. But my 2 sons and friends, such as yourself, kept encouraging me to get back. And what I realized that I had done wrong the first time, Terry, was that I hadn't found my platform and I hadn't found my voice. I just thought, oh, I'll blog about, what I'm cooking today, or where I'm traveling today, or what I'm doing. And I believe that can work for some people, but I don't think it works for the majority of people. I think for a professional platform such as Steam, you have to have a voice. And I decided I was going to use my expertise, which is on selling, and mostly selling yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and you've done that very well, and we're really glad to have you back. And so while we've got you here, I want to find out a little bit more about that philosophy that you and I embrace, that I was talking about as we got started. The idea that we're all in sales. Now, many of our fellow Steamians will say, well, no, I'm not in sales. I'm a programmer, or I'm a this or that. You feel that everyone is in sales. Tell us a little bit about what you mean by that.
Well, first I'm going to ask you a question, Terry, and I want you to answer it as quickly as possible.
Okay.
And I always go, what's the first word you think of when you hear the word salesperson?
Pushy.
Keep going.
Pushy, obnoxious, used car. That's more than one word, but you get the idea. Derby hat, cigar smoking, make you a real good deal today.
Absolutely.
Those kind of things.
Negative connotations of a salesperson.
Mm-hmm.
And then in reality, as you've just kind of prefaced, I happen to believe we're all salespeople, because even if you're a computer programmer you're having to sell ideas to your boss. You're having to sell ideas to your colleagues. You go home, you have to sell your partner or your wife or husband on where are we going to go for dinner on Friday night and where are we going to take the kids for spring break. And so we're negotiating and selling all day long. And so the question is not, am I a salesperson? The question is, how can I become more effective?
Yes, I think so. And I think that being effective in what you want to do, you're really communicating, you're persuading. And I think one of the things that our colleague through the National Speakers Association, where you and I both are members, Jay Baer, talks about
Yes.
helping is the new selling. And when we're helping others, tell us a little bit about your thoughts on that and how the experiences you've had in your work.
Well, oh my gosh, when I decided to get back on Steam here, fairly recently, the help that people want to offer, my very first post, I think I got two suggestions from people on, do this and this will look better, and do that and that'll look better. And certainly you're one of the superstars on Steam. And, you've been so helpful in terms of helping me develop a template,
Glad to do it.
learning how to wrap my text around my photos, which I haven't quite done yet. But
Yeah, be helping on that too. That's a nice thing about using tools like Zoom that we're doing now. We can share screen. So it's almost like being there. And it gives us the ability to leverage technology to help others even more.
But I've found the STEAM community to be enormously helpful. They want you to be successful. And the reason they want you to be successful is if you're successful, we're all successful. We all want to see the price of Steam go up. We want our blogs to be worth more money. We want the effort and sacrifice that we put into posting a blog to reward us. And, I think it's an extremely helpful platform.
Yeah, exactly. It's one of those situations that, well, actually, one of the situations we would often say it's a win-win situation. And now I want to particularly segue into that because I know that's something that you talk about. People often say, well, it'll be a win-win all the way around. And you have some other ideas on that. Tell us what your thoughts are on the idea of a win-win situation.
I do have big thoughts on it, Terry, and it's a very common expression. It's a win-win situation. The problem with the win-win is that's basically about what's in it for you and what's in it for me. But I always say there's always a third party, a party of three, when you are in a sales situation. For example, here at Steemit, we have a benefit personally by getting paid. The readers have a benefit, but the company has a benefit because the more exposure it has and the more people who are blogging and paying attention to it, the higher the price of our Steam goes. So there's always a third party benefit. Win, it's a win-win-win. It's a trifecta.
Okay, Christine, I'm going to have to stop you right there for a moment off camera here, where I'm still recording though, because your communication cut off there. And just a moment. So I want you to do is to go back to the place where you were talking about, give me a countdown on this. And I want you to say, it's more than just a win-win. Start with that and then go from there. Because you cut it off and we missed what you were saying.
Okay.
So here's what I want you to do. Give me a countdown of 5, 4, 3, 2, and then say, and it's a win-win is what we call it, but it really is, and go from there.
Okay, ready? Okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It's a very common expression, Terry, the win-win, the win-win. But what I find problematic with that expression is that a win-win implies what's in this for you and what's in this for me. It's all about two people. And in my experience and my perspective, I feel like there's always a third party beneficiary in every sale. For example, on Steemit, there's me, I'm blogging and writing an article. There's you, a member who might be learning something from my blog. But the third party beneficiary is the company itself, because the more we blog and the more people that read and respond, the higher the price of steam is going to become. So instead of looking at things as a win-win, I like to say, look at it as a win-win-win, a trifecta. There's always a third party involved. And with every sale, if you can identify that third party, then it's a winner for all of us.
I like that. I really like that approach, because there really is more than just two involved. So there's three, and sometimes more than that. You think about in Steam, if we write something that's real good, you can have many different winners, all of whom are consuming your content. They're watching your video, they're reading your blog, and I think that's important. And that kind of relates to another thing that you've been known for, and what you've talked about is making sure that the materials that we have that look really good. So it's winning for everyone. The material, tell us how that relates to what we're doing here on Steam, and how presenting materials in a professional way can really help us.
Well, Terry, I've always believed that you should create marketing materials for yourself, whether those are physical paper marketing materials, something on the web, whatever, in what I call knock your socks off marketing materials. And why do I believe that to be true? Because each one of us is in competition daily with literally thousands of people to gain other people's attention to what we're trying to sell or market or, use. And so, for example, I just realized, again, having just gotten back onto Steam, that when you post your blog and it's in the feed, the first picture or graphic or photograph that you might use is illustrated there. And then the first line of your blog is posted there.
Yes.
Well, I just posted this week a blog on get to know the bulldozer drivers. In fact, Terry, I actually featured you in the article. You may not have read it yet, but you
Yeah, I did. I read that, and thank you. And by the way, I responded and said, I love what you say. And those of you that are watching this, go and look that up. It's an excellent article. You can read in just a few minutes, and she has some really good points on that.
Well, I want to circle back, because what I didn't realize, as soon as I saw it on the feed, I thought, I wonder if all the members out there are going to think this is an article about golf, because the photo was a single solitary golfer. The opening line was, that golf is a very solitary sport. And I thought, well, if somebody's not a golfer, they may not read the article. So that's why you've always got to be looking at what you're presenting. And we've all heard the old expression, you only get one chance, you never get a second chance to make a first impression. So you want to be putting yourself out there in the best possible light with marketing materials that attract the eye, attract the reader, attract the listener, and, and rise you above the pile of all the other people who are competing for the same attention.
Absolutely. Well, let me get even more granular and nitty-gritty here. Based on your experience, not only in Steam, what you've been doing here with the Steam community, but also the years' experience that you've had as a professional speaker, as a communicator, as a salesperson, what can we do in Steam to help raise our level up, to make sure that it's very attractive and magnetic to those who are looking at the potential of reading our article, or they're looking at watching our video?
Well, gosh, Terry, people need to seek out and find people just like you, who you're a technical wizard, in my opinion, and yet you're so willing to share with everybody. And so look at blogs and things that knock your socks off and go, wow, I wish I knew how to do this. But then don't be afraid to ask people for help. I trademarked the slogan for my company, Christine Clifford Enterprises, don't forget to ask.
Yeah, I've seen that.
And the reason I say that is it's so hard for all of us to ever ask for the business or ask for help or ask for this or that. But in reality, because people don't ask us a lot, we're usually pretty honored and willing to share when people do ask us for help. So, again, I've only been back in the STEAM community here for about a month now, and I'm still gathering facts and learning from people, but I have really started reading the feeds and seeing, boy, this person really knows a lot about. I just read an article the other day, I think it was from SteamFlow, that said how to make $12 a day on Steam It. Well, it was an outstanding article, in my opinion, so I think you just have to seek out the people that are doing it well and already knocking your socks off.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's the key is we look at those who are doing well in STEAM. They are using it properly and moving ahead on that. Well, now you also had a unique perspective because you were with STEAM back in 2016 when it first got started, and now you're seeing it today. What are you seeing that are similarities and what differences are you seeing in the platform and the community?
Well, obviously, the biggest one is the price of Steam itself. It's dropped, fairly dramatically from where it was when I was first starting. But I'm a firm believer that it's going to go up. And as I've, been involved with the stock market, I've invested in cryptocurrency. And you can't lose faith in something like that. And in this particular community, it really is up to all of us to keep driving the business. Yep. But what I've personally found different this time is I'm much more engaged. I observed it for a couple years. I tried it. I didn't get immediate feedback. And I approached it this year on the encouragement of my sons as well as, Mom, if you don't earn more than, $1 on your first couple of posts, don't worry about it. You've got to build the audience. And I really embraced that, Terry, this time and thought, I've just got to look at it differently.
Yeah, I like what you're saying there because we see right now the reality is as we're recording this, the price has gone down substantially. But like you, I believe it's got a good long-term future. That the mechanics of it, the technical features, the community, all the components that go together are going to do very well. Now, I could be wrong, so I'm not making any financial advice whatsoever. Right. But I am making advice, something that I have found helpful. And as a professional speaker to another professional speaker, I'd be interested in your take on this. I have found that I can take the material, and if I put out, say, a video on DTube, or I put another article on Steemit, or I love using Snapshot. Snapshot is kind of like an Instagram, and it's really good for pictures that I can use those in other areas too. For instance, as a speaker, right. I have a lot of quotes that I've been using on Snapshot. And so I could bring that into a presentation where I could say, and it's just like Albert Einstein said once, and bring up the Snapshot post that I had, a picture of Albert Einstein and the quote. And so I'm able to use this in multiple ways. Yet another reason to help. Are you finding similar things as a speaker to speaker?
Well, certainly. But one of the things I want to address, Terry, is, the majority of members involved in the STEAM community are probably not professional speakers like we are. Right. And I don't want them to get intimidated by this thought that, we've got all this material and, we can use it again in the STEAM community and put it on other things.
Good point.
Anybody can do that. Anybody can do that. You don't have to recreate the wheel to be successful on Steam. In fact, I have an opinion about anybody who blogs. And my opinion is you wouldn't be a blogger unless you are an expert on some topic. You wouldn't even get started unless you felt like you knew enough to share with other people and help other people. So whatever it is that you're out there blogging about, look at all the work that you've done up to this point to become an expert in that field and become a master of one. I always call it a master, kind of create a niche for yourself where people come to you, come to your blog to see what you're posting. And some of these things may be ideas that you generated 5 years ago.
Yeah, I think so. And I think that's the idea that with Steam, we're getting a way to project our ideas, to grow and to take them out into the marketplace. And the thing I love best about Steam and the whole community is that we can post something and we get a chance to get real live market research data from that. Even better
Exactly.
than, say, on Facebook. It's a good place. I'm on Facebook, I'm on Twitter, LinkedIn, and the other platforms. But to give somebody a like on Facebook
Yeah.
really doesn't cost them.
It
But with
feels good.
Steam, I can on Steam it. Someone says, "Here, I'm going to give you an upvote," and I'm going to do it in either a 0 to 100%. After they've had a little bit of time there, they can do that. And when someone says, "I'm giving you a 100% upvote," and we know they can't do that for 1,000 people in one day. They
Right.
can't, 100% upvote. Nobody can do that the way it's structured. So that means you're getting people that are saying, "I really like that." And I'm giving you some real value with it. And for me, I think as much as I love all the other aspects of Steven, I think that all of that is great. I think that's one of the best. What are your thoughts on that?
Oh, I couldn't agree more. It is kind of funny, Terry, because, in our other profession, we get paid quite well to do what we do, to write books or to speak. And yet, I like watching the pennies go up on Steam and counting the votes. I wrote newsletters for years for some of my companies, and I wouldn't get, much feedback on it. For years and years, they were paper newsletters that used to get mailed in the mail. And I would rarely get feedback on it, but you post an article on your blog and you get instantaneous feedback from people. And I think it's just terrific.
Yep, it's wonderful. Well, I would love to have an interview with you that goes about 14 days or so, but I'm thinking that might be a little bit long even for me. But I know we need to get going. But before we do, I'm going to leave the floor to you. First of all, let us know how people can reach you, both on Steemit and elsewhere. You offer a lot of services to people. You can help people in a one-on-one way, coaching sometimes. You often do a lot of speeches like I do. You do many things. Someone says, "Hey, I want to get in touch with that Christine Clifford and find out about her." Let us know how they can reach you, and then any closing words that you would have to our Steemian community out there.
Oh, thanks, Terry. Well, people can reach me on Steam. It's at Christine's blog, and Christine is CHRISTINE. They can visit my website, ChristineClifford.com. They can email me, Christine@ChristineClifford.com. I'm on Facebook, under Christine Clifford. So lots of ways for people to reach me. And, I really do specialize in helping solopreneurs and entrepreneurs find a way to market and sell themselves better. So I would encourage anybody who's interested. I've got a YouTube channel with lots of videos on there as well.
And what is the name of your YouTube channel?
Oh gosh, I think it's Christine K. Clifford or Christine Clifford.
Okay.
And as far as closing remarks, I just have to say that if you've been a long time blogger on Steam, congratulations. I think it's terrific. If you're new to it like I am, don't give up the faith. Just keep plugging away at it. I know when one of my sons started blogging a couple years ago, Steam was valued at 1 penny, and he just kept at it all year long until it grew, to be whatever the price hit the maximum, sometime last year. It can happen again. We're all in this together. We should all be supporting each other. And my final thought, Terry, is just thank you for all the work you've done to encourage me and support me in getting back into Steam.
You bet. Well, glad to do it. And Christine, I just admire you. I've known you and admired you for many years. And now it's fun to have us two professional speakers here in the Steemit and in the Steemit community. Thank you so much for being with us today, Christine.
Thank you.
And for those of you watching, think about what she has told you here. We are in sales. Whether you know it or not, you're selling and you want to learn how to do that better. A good way to learn that you can do it, and the budget is really low on this, you read Christine's blog. Get out there to Christine's blog, look it up, and read the articles she's got. I've been reading them myself, and even though I've consumed a lot of her content in the past, really good material, and it helps me that way. This is what our Steemian Steam It community is all about. We're helping each other, we're supporting and pulling forward. And let me know how I can help you. I'm at Terry Brock on Steam It, and I'll look forward to getting your messages and finding out ways I can help you. Thank you very much for joining us today.